Ever notice how some people apologize for everything, even when it's not their fault?
I'm sorry.
Or how they laugh when something isn't even funny just to keep the peace. That's not awkwardness, that's conditioning. Let me explain. When you grow up with narcissists, you learn that silence can explode, so you start filling every space with politeness, fake smiles, and nervous jokes. Not because you're weak, but because your brain still thinks safety depends on keeping everyone happy. And that training doesn't disappear when you leave home. It just follows you into friendships, workplaces, even romantic relationships. You become the person who double texts no worries when you're secretly furious, who over-explains small mistakes, and who says it's okay to things that definitely weren't okay. These weird little social habits might seem harmless, but they're actually survival codes written by years of walking on eggshells. So let's break down the 5 weird social habits people carry when they grow up with narcissists, and why every single one of them makes perfect psychological sense. Watch till the end, so you will understand where these habits really come from and start showing up in the world as the calm, confident version of you. 1. Over-apologizing for everything. People who grew up with narcissists treat sorry like a safety spell. They say it before speaking, after speaking, and sometimes even while breathing. It's not about guilt. It's about preventing conflict before it starts. Because growing up, a tiny mistake could turn into a full-blown lecture or a guilt trip. So the adult version of you learned to apologize first, just in case. 2. Reading everyone's mood like it's your job. You walk into a room and instantly sense who's irritated, who's hiding something, and who's about to explode, before they even say a word. That's not intuition, that's hypervigilance. Your nervous system was trained to predict emotional storms before they hit. So now, even in peaceful environments, your brain still scans for danger, like a smoke detector that never turns off. 3. Laughing when you're uncomfortable. Ever notice how you laugh in serious or awkward situations? That's your body trying to soften tension before it happens. You learned that keeping the atmosphere light was the safest way to survive. So you joke when you're nervous, smile when you're angry, and giggle while explaining your trauma. It's not fake, it's emotional camouflage. 4. Over-explaining yourself. If you grew up with narcissists, you probably learned that being misunderstood was dangerous. So now you over-explain everything. Your choices, your tone, even your emotions. You're not seeking validation, you're seeking safety. Because back then, one wrong word could make someone explode. So now you rehearse your sentences in your head before you speak. 5. Avoiding compliments. People think you're humble, but it's not humility, it's discomfort.
Emily has told us absolutely nothing about you. Where are you from?
When someone praises you, part of your brain goes, wait, is this real? Or is there a catch? You learn that compliments often came right before criticism, a setup, not kindness. So you downplay your achievements, deflect attention, and never fully receive praise. Because deep down, you still associate admiration with danger. Each of these habits might look strange from the outside, but inside, they all come from the same place. Survival through control. Controlling your tone, your reactions, your words, just to prevent someone else from controlling your peace. So why these habits stick? All these habits come from one place, a nervous system that grew up in survival mode. When you're raised around narcissists, your brain isn't focused on thriving, it's focused on avoiding explosions. You don't learn connection, you learn management. You manage moods, tones, words, even silence. Over time, that becomes muscle memory. Your brain links safety to control. So the more unpredictable someone is, the harder you work to stay calm and agreeable. That's why as an adult, you keep peace at any cost, even when it costs your peace. And it's not your fault. Your brain was literally wired to survive unpredictability. When a narcissistic parent praises you one moment and humiliates you the next, your body learns to monitor danger, not love. That's why real kindness can feel suspicious. It doesn't match the pattern you were trained for. But the good news? Anything that was learned can be unlearned. Once you start recognizing these habits for what they are, old defense systems trying to protect you, you can finally start teaching your brain a new rule. I'm safe now. That's when the habits start to fade. Not because you force yourself to stop, but because your body finally believes it doesn't need to protect you anymore. So how can a victim of narcissistic abuse break the cycle? Listen closely. Breaking these patterns doesn't start with changing how you act. It starts with changing what you believe about safety. You don't have to monitor every face in the room anymore. You don't have to earn peace by over-explaining yourself. And you definitely don't need to apologize for existing. The healing begins the moment you stop trying to be the easy person to love and start becoming the person who loves themselves themselves enough to stop performing. Here's what that looks like. You pause before saying sorry. You accept a compliment without flinching. You notice someone's bad mood and remind yourself it's not your job to fix it. Each of these moments rewires your nervous system to expect safety instead of chaos. That's how you slowly unlearn the habits your childhood built. And one day you'll walk into a room and feel something strange. Silence that isn't threatening. You'll speak your truth and realize the world didn't fall apart. You'll laugh, not to diffuse tension, but because you actually feel joy. That's when you'll know you've stopped surviving and started living. So if you've ever felt like you're too cautious, too nice, or too weird in social settings, you're not broken. You're just someone who learned to be careful in a world that didn't feel safe. Now you're unlearning, and that's something to be proud of. Healing, after growing up with narcissists, isn't about becoming perfect. It's about finally feeling safe enough to be yourself. You're allowed to take up space now. You're allowed to speak without rehearsing your sentences in your head first. And you're allowed to stop being the peacekeeper in rooms that never offered you peace. Because the truth is, you were never too emotional, too quiet, or too strange. You were just trying to survive in a home that confused control with love. But that's over now. You get to write new rules. And if you want to go deeper, if you want to finally understand the hidden tactics narcissists use and how to break free from their control for good, watch this video right here.